welcome to another episode of To See or Not to See, the show where we have the only movie reviews that matter to you. I'm your host, Jeff Wilson.
And I'm Katie Keegan.
As you may notice, we're a shorter person. David is not able to be here tonight.
I kicked him out for saying Napoleon Dynamite is a good movie.
I disagree with that decision.
You're next.
Well, anyway, I'm going to try and fill in for him, and I know I don't think I can do it, but I'll try. I will give it my best. So let's go and, so if you haven't seen the show before, let me explain how this works. At the beginning, we will both give reviews that we have done individually. I will give David's for him tonight. Hopefully he will be back soon. And we'll each give those, and then later we'll do a movie together and we'll review that together and talk about it. So,
now, all movies here on To See or Not to See are rated on a 2-scale rating system. If the movie is deemed worthy, it is placed on the Shakespeare scale, which is a 5-point scale for only the best movies. If the movie is considered bad or worse, it's placed on the Shatner scale, which is also a 5-point scale and measures how bad the movies are.
The movies that are up for judgment tonight are Beowulf, as reviewed by David, Ocean's 13, as reviewed by Katie here, and B-Movie, as reviewed by me. Our movie discussion for tonight will be In the Spirit of Christmas. We will be reviewing the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from the 1960s. With all that out of the way, what do you say we get started?
Okay.
All right. I'll start with David's review of Beowulf. Nothing kicks off the season celebrating European imperialism like a movie that makes us realize that it could have been worse. The Pilgrims could have been Vikings. Beowulf is the newest all-CGI film from Peter Zemeckis, starring the voices of stars like Russell Crowe, Anthony Hopkins, and Angelina Jolie. The film is based on an Old English poem with few large deviations in the plot, but enough action and beautiful visuals to more than justify the use of artistic license. The movie is barely able to sustain a PG-13 rating as there is plenty of male and female nudity, but usually with a strategically placed candlestick or wisp of smoke to prevent you from seeing more than might make you choke on your popcorn. Simply put, if you want to watch this movie, you should expect to see lots of violence and naked people. Sometimes you can even see naked people being violent. The first major battle between Beowulf and Grendel occurs with both of them, yes, that's right, naked. While the use of digitally rendered male nude monsters, warriors, and overweight kings might come off as a bit crude, the animation is superb, and characters' facial movements match the actors' voices perfectly. There are certain scenes where you will forget that you are not watching real actors. The movie was obviously made for 3D and IMAX format, and if you're watching it on smaller screen, certain scenes will seem a little bit awkward, such as a soldier arm spear into the eyes of the audience, which in 3D would have been amazing, but in 2D it makes it look like the spear just got really, really tiny. That being said, Beowulf is an action-packed CGI masterpiece and is as close to perfect guy movie without cars and explosions. So we give this a 4.5 out of 5 Shakespeares.
Okay.
Katie, you're up.
All right. You gotta love a David review.
I love it. Miss him. We should bring him back.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right, so Ocean's 13, and the boys are back. Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney, once again leads his band of thieves in an explosive multi-million-dollar heist at a Vegas casino. This time, however, the goal is not a large payoff, but rather revenge. When casino big shot Willie Bank, played by Al Pacino, double-crosses Ruben, the gang, including Brad Pitt and Matt Damon, take the matter into their own hands. As the title suggests, Ocean's 13, Danny recruits another player for the heist. Terry Benedict, if you'll remember the target of the heist in Ocean's 11, joins the team as the financial backer and for some revenge of his own. 13 brings back much of the wit and humor of 11 with an all-star cast, stunning cinematography, and great one-liners. It's not quite as good as 11, but definitely better than 12, and good to see. Missing from the cast, however, are Julia Roberts and Catherine Zeta-Jones, whose absence is written off by Danny as not their fight. To be perfectly honest, I didn't really mind. So I always love a good caper movie, so I give it 4 out of 5 Shakespeares, and Ocean's 13 was just released onto DVD just in time for the holidays. And Jeff, I believe that leaves you.
Yes, it does. All right, so for years, we all wait for that one animated hit that makes the season and just blows us away. Well, if you're hoping for B-movie to be that movie, don't. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie and the plot is there, kind of. And anytime bees breaking out of normality, it's a good concept. But the movie just repeats on what other insect movies have already done, A Bug's Life and Ants. So if you pay attention to this movie like me, you'll see that DreamWorks just took the cookie cutter mold and followed it. Now, granted, today's movie market, there's not a lot of family films, so DreamWorks could make this work. And with only one true Christmas movie out there, and it being a PG-13 Vince Vaughn movie, what are you going to take your kids to see? But B-movie is nothing original. The story follows that of Barry B. Benson, a bee played by Jerry Seinfeld, who wants more than an ordinary worker bee's existence. This desire leads him on an adventure, and on this adventure he comes in contact with the human female played by Renée Zellweger, who shares in his adventure, which eventually leads to Benson's lawsuit against humans for their stealing of honey from bees. The story goes on as Barry wins the lawsuit and bees no longer have to make honey. Soon pollination stops and all flowers in the world begin to die. And Barry realizes that it is up to him to fix everything by bringing the last of the flowers back to New York from the Rose Bowl so that the bees can once again pollinate the flowers and save all the plants from certain doom. While having an interesting story, I felt like the story was a bit overdone. There was too much to it for a 1.5-hour movie. I felt like I missed a lot of parts as a result, and I was just in the humor, a bit dry, and it required a lot of intellect to get. And for a kids movie, a cartoon at that, you can't do that. It has to be dumbed down. No offense to the children, they just don't get a lot of the adult innuendos. While the majority of the adult audience appreciated it, this type of comedy often leaves children and younger audiences out of the loop, and they are left trying to figure out what is so funny. When doing a cartoon, you must remember that the major demographic of your movie is going to be children, and the comedy should be directed towards them. Visually, the movie was fantastic. DreamWorks is on top when it comes to CGI animation. That is the high point of the movie, though. Story needs to be tightened up, and the comedy required way too high of an intellect to be in a cartoon. I have to say that while I enjoyed the movie, it was only managed to scrape a 1.5 Shakespeare's out of 5 for me.
Wow, that's disappointing. Okay, well, that does it for the individual reviews, and we will have the movie for discussion when we come back.